Where are the opportunities for the listeners for this show?
Oh, well, employment opportunities. Yeah. This is going to be a growing area that businesses are going to be grappling with, and they're going to need people who are able to actually do this work. So, organisational psychologists or psychologists who have completed organisational psychology master's degrees. We want to be completely accurate about it.
Yeah, I should say Joelle's the only organisational psychologist here. I have a master's in occupational psychology, but doesn't make me an organisational psychologist. We'll get into that with maybe Heather Ryken on another episode.
Yeah, probably. For people working in the org psych area, I think, we are very uniquely positioned to really work with systems, organisational systems where they interact with mental health. I think that we do have a really unique role in that space. But also just from your OHS professionals, this is something that you need to start paying attention to and looking for opportunities to upskill, looking for opportunities to engage with people who do have that the mental health competence. If you're not able to bring it in-house, then, seek that guidance and seek that expert input.
Yeah, I see some health and safety professionals freaking out a little bit, and they're like, oh, now I've got to deal with mental health as well on top of everything else. But really, if you think about it, when you're talking about controlling risks, the health and safety person doesn't necessarily do that. It's like the role of engineers.
Yeah, absolutely. So the health and safety person should be facilitating that process and making sure that they've got the right expertise feeding into the risk assessment and into the development of appropriate control measures.
Yeah. So rather than engineers, in the case of psychological risk management, it's more, say, psychologists that would be the subject matter expert, if you like, or how do we diagnose and alleviate the issue?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The other one I've got in here, so we've talked about HSC, we talked about organisational psychologists. HR is another one where I think there could be real benefit from.
Yeah, so I think, if we had a Venn diagram, the mental health is really where we've got the crossover between the OSH and the HR professionals in the Venn diagram. So definitely those two roles within an organisation need to do a lot of collaboration in this area.
Yeah. And I think the other benefit I see for the HR profession is a lot of them want to do stuff in the workplace mental health space, okay? They want to, but it's hard to sell it to leadership because it's perceived as a nice to have rather than a need to have. But I guess when it becomes more of a health and safety issue, health and safety generally have a higher priority when things come up in the organisation, and they might have more budget as well to be able to do these things properly.
Yep.
If it becomes a need to have and there's more budget available, then HR might find that they're able to do more initiatives in this space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then regulators. Now, coming from a regulator yourself, can you see any benefits for regulators for having, I guess, these new standards in place and health and psychological health and safety becoming more to the fore?
I think the benefit for regulators in having a standard to point to is that it sets out some, I guess, globally agreed on expectations for what a good risk management approach looks like in relation to mental health. Anytime there's a standard, a regulator is going to be able to do their job more effectively, I suppose. So that's the big takeaway for regulators with this standard coming out, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely makes it more enforceable. At least companies don't have anywhere to hide anymore. The regulator can say, look, it's very clear, these are your obligations, and it's very clear that you're not fulfilling them. So